Hey everybody, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. I had other plans and other videos I was going to release, but if you're not aware, there's been a big upset in the YouTube community. Two YouTube creators, April, Effie, and Toby Turner, there's a letter that's come out that April wrote, and she posted it on Tumblr, and I'll put the link to that letter below, but I want to warn all of you, it could be very triggering if you have a past of sexual abuse or assault or have in any way gone through that in your life. It can be very triggering. And she even warns you at the beginning of her letter. But I think it's really important that we talk about this because there are so many things in that letter that she addresses. She addresses emotional abuse, sexual assault, being drugged without her knowing it. And all of these things are accusations that she's making against Toby Turner, who is her ex-boyfriend. As we know, a lot of people who have suffered through things like this don't speak up because there's a lot of self-blame that we can feel like I brought it on myself. And so a lot of people end up not reaching out, not speaking up. And I want to do everything I can to support anyone who feels the courage and is able to actually speak up and reach out for help. When I read April's letter, two things really stuck out to me. And I think it's important for us as a community to use this situation to help learn about it and share information so that those out there struggling can get help sooner rather than later. The first thing that stuck out to me is knowing the warning signs of an emotionally abusive relationship. And the second is, how do we be a friend to someone who may have been through a sexual assault or in a sexually abusive relationship? One of the first signs of emotional abuse is constant disapproval. Nothing that we do is ever good enough. They're always disapproving of any choice that we're making. Any attempt we make to do things the right way, the way they want, still isn't good enough. And you can see how this really erodes at not only our self-esteem and self-confidence, but overall who we feel that we are and what we're worth. The second sign that I want to talk about is extreme control. They don't want us making any decisions without their approval. They'd actually prefer things to be their idea from the beginning. They don't want us to go to parties without them. They don't want us to go places that they just don't want us to be. If they don't approve or decide that that's what they want to happen, they don't want it happening. The third is constant criticism. Nitpicking, looking at every little thing you do and always criticizing you. They're never helping you build up to a better you. They're just always putting you down. The fourth sign is threatening. Do you ever feel scared when they're around? Do you fear what may happen if you go against their wishes? Do they ever put you in situations that are dangerous or go against who you really are and you feel so scared of what may happen if you don't oblige that you go along with it anyway? Those are all signs of emotional abuse. And the fifth and final one I'm going to talk about today, there are many more, by the way, but the fifth one is that they are always right. It doesn't matter if there's proof that they were wrong. They were always right, and everything you do is always wrong. So if you find yourself in a relationship where any of these signs are present, you don't have to have them all. And like I said, there are many more, but please, please, please speak up. Reach out for help sooner rather than later. And I'll put a list of resources in the description for you to reach out because April was silent for years before she spoke up. And I want to make sure that you have the resources you need to get the help when it's happening to you. The second part of the letter that really stuck out to me was the fact that her friends really didn't know how to support her. And so I want to offer up 5 tips on ways that we can support our friends who may be in a sexually abusive relationship or have gone through a sexual assault. The first thing that we need to know is that anyone can be a victim. This isn't just young women. Anyone can be a victim of sexual assault, and it needs to be taken seriously. The second thing is really listen to them. Take the time to hear their side of the story, what they felt they went through. Only they can really tell us how they feel and tell us what happened to them and what that meant to them. We can't assume things. The sooner we start shutting up and listening, the better. And the third tip is that if this just happened and they came straight to you, please, please, please take them to the emergency room. That way we can gather all the evidence on their body from the assault. And just as a side note, often they keep the clothing that they were wearing as evidence. So make sure you bring them a change of clothes so that they have, something comfortable that they can wear when they leave. And also if drugs were involved, in this letter, she talks about being drugged without knowing. We want to make sure that they're medically okay and they get medically assessed so that there isn't anything else happening in their body that we can't see. In her letter, April said that she felt messed up from the drugs for 3 days. We want to make sure that we get that taken care of sooner rather than later. The fourth, and honestly the most important thing we can do as a friend, is keep reminding them that it's not their fault. Like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of shame and embarrassment associated with sexual assault and sexual abuse, and that's why a lot of people don't speak up. But letting them know that there is nothing that we could have done. There's not anything anyone could ever do to make sexual abuse or assault okay. We never ask for it. If you say no, it's no. And the fifth and final way to support a friend is honor their autonomy. What I mean by that is we can suggest that they get help. Like I said, I'm going to put a ton of resources down in the description. But if they're not ready and they don't want to, it isn't helpful actually for us to keep mentioning it. We just have to be there to support, to listen, to hear them out. And we can offer up some tools and we can offer up some resources to them. But until they're ready, they're not ready. And so we have to wait for them to decide that they want to get help. One of the hardest things we can do is be vocal about what happened to us, but know that that is the first step in recovery, and it does get better. I would encourage all of you, if you know anyone or you yourself are going through this, please reach out for help. There are professionals out there who are there to support. And like I said, I'll have all the information in the description, because together with our voice, we can reach more people and hopefully put an end to people feeling stigmatized and embarrassed about speaking up. And I want to thank April for sharing her story, because hopefully as this gains more and more chatter, more people who were sitting in silence will speak up and get the help that they deserve. I love you all, and I will see you on Thursday.